Hi everyone, welcome back to WCBG. A very special guest with me here today. I have Jansen from the WLDLFE. Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How's everybody doing?
Going as good as it can be. I want to thank you first for taking the time to meet with me today. It really means a lot to me. I know you guys must have super busy schedules going on and everything, so thanks for taking the time to chat.
Absolutely, happy to do it.
So I guess my first question for you is to introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about you. Fun fact, always good.
Yeah, I'm Jansen. I'm in a band called The WLDLFE. We started the band in Indy. We're all from the Midwest. I'm from Chicago personally. Yeah, and we live in Nashville now. Just been writing, recording, doing a lot of work in the last year or so to get music ready to put out and head back out on the road. But yeah, I mean, what fun fact do you want to know? Like, give me a prompt, something.
Okay, one question I normally ask people is from our freshman orientation. If you could be any item in the kitchen, what would you be and why?
I'm in the kitchen. Probably. I've been thinking about getting one, so I'm just gonna say this say this as the example. But I think I need a soda stream. Like I'm very much into sparkling water at this point. I think LaCroix is the vibe. I think after all the ones I've tried, I think LaCroix is still on top. But I drink so much of it that I should just get a soda stream. It'd save me a lot of money. So I'd be the soda stream, I think.
I love that. Normally I tell people I'd be a knife because I have a sharp wit, which is such a terrible joke, but.
There you go. Hey, sometimes you got to do it to them.
So I know you mentioned that you're currently in Nashville. Do you think that move has had an impact on the music process you guys have been going through?
Oh, totally, for sure. I think that when we were in Indy and Chicago and all that stuff, like it was mostly just us working on everything, and that was fun and I think a really good thing for us. But now being here, it's great to be able to collaborate more consistently with people that we respect and that can really, add something to the, I guess, vision that we have for the project. And that's the biggest way that being here has been, really different for the creative process, and it's been a really positive thing. So definitely love being here for sure.
So your band has actually been on our ones to watch list for a while now. So we were very excited to hear that you guys will be releasing new music this year. Do you mind telling me a little bit about the single coming out soon?
Yeah. So we are putting out a single called Psycho next week. Yeah, less than a week from now on Thursday, February 10th. It's called Psycho. Yeah, we wrote it with it was me, Carson, and Johnny from Nightly. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but we went on tour with them a couple years back, and just made a really good friendship with those guys, and wrote this song called Psycho. And it's been a long time coming, but we're happy to put it out, and we have the music video ready to go and all that stuff. But yeah.
If you could, are you allowed to tell me some of the concepts in the music video?
Sure. I mean, it's not narrative at all. It's just kind of like, it's more of a visualizer. So what we kind of did was we all wanted to be like matching outfits. We kind of wanted straight jackets just to like represent the whole concept of the lyrics and stuff. But we just went with some like white jumpsuits. And it's just kind of very editorial, like a lot of just pose. It honestly, if I'm being honest, it just looks like we're thirst trapping the camera the whole time. So, but it's cool. I think we all feel good about it, and we're excited to put it out for sure. But it was a good day. It was a quick day, which was the best part about it, is that we went in, we got it done, and we got out. So.
Those are always good. I love hearing stories behind like what comes out of different parts of the art process for when a song's released. Especially, I feel like sometimes people forget like the music video is also, or visualize is also important. It's not just the song. There's a bunch of aspects and thoughts that go into it.
Totally.
So the album artwork for the single, are you allowed to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the painting. Yeah, well, about, I guess it's been 2 years now. My time clock is so messed up because of because of COVID and just everything. But yeah, I think about 2 years ago now, or maybe a little bit longer than that actually. We had just kind of decided that we wanted to create a consistent like visual element to the brand, and for us that meant kind of overhauling all of our artwork, which I think was like I don't want to say a risky idea, but definitely a unique one, something that I don't know that many people have done. But yeah, we just wanted to add some sort of like mature quality to it and give each like collection of songs their own like visual representation. And so we hit up one of our friends. His name's Chase Rowan, and he lives in Dallas, but he's done all of the artwork for us since we decided to overhaul. So all the old stuff is our paintings too, and he did this new one as well. It's like a giant 6-foot banner. I haven't seen it in person yet, but it's like a real giant piece of art that I don't know where we're gonna put when we get our hands on it, but it's super cool, and that's gonna be kind of the visual representation for like the next batch of songs, however many it ends up being. So
I love how you mentioned that. I've noticed throughout the songs released so far and the ones to come that you all have this cohesion about it. And it's really interesting to see like the groupings. I've noticed like for song, I guess, our albums, you put the years, which I think is really clever and a good way to like segment things, because I know like as a listener, something you released 3 years ago could be something I relate to now. So it's really cool to see like those moments of your lives.
absolutely, like that's I mean, and what's funny is like that's not the perspective of that is different than what I have for it too, because I think that for us, like we wanted to put a stamp on it. One, because like just we wanted like all of our art to feel like an art gallery, and like if you were to go to a museum and look at something like that, it's gonna have the title and the year. And that was kind of like that was a very on purpose choice. As well as like I think that it's important, especially now, where I think it's a lot easier to just put out music or whatever you're feeling like that day. Like you can get music out very quickly, that it's kind of nice to date things, because when somebody discovers you, like they might like this song that sounds very different than another song, and a lot of that might have to do with just the fact that they were written like 6 years apart. And sometimes like being able to see that like right in front of you, like I think is really helpful to, like for that understanding part of it. So but yeah, very intentional choice of the years, I guess.
It kind of actually leads to my next question. Curious to know how has your sound progressed throughout the time the Wildlife has been a band?
You know, I think that I think we're always developing and progressing in some direction. I think that for us, like we started out like, you know, trying to emulate like other people because we really liked their music, and I think that that's kind of led us to a place, you know, in the last couple of years where we've really we feel like we've nailed down like what our sound is and what we want to be. And yeah, I think that we've grown into like a pop band with guitars, which I think is a very broad thing to say, but I think that's the point, is like we don't want to box ourselves in, but we do feel like we've landed in a good sonic space as far as like what you can expect from us song to song. So yeah, I think that's a good thing.
To go off that, I can definitely like listen to a song and like know it's your band. You have a very distinct sound in a good way. Like I promise, it's a very good thing. Especially like if something's on shuffle, I can be like, I know who that is. So it's really great to hear that. And I know you mentioned you guys don't like putting yourselves in a box, but I'm gonna ask you if you can currently describe your sound for me in 3 words.
Yeah, 3 words. I would trying to think, do I do like direct description? Do I do something like metaphorical or abstract? I I don't know. It's really hard. I would say that like right now, if I'm just putting 3 words to describe our music in a genre way, like I would just call us a pop rock R&B band, because I think that we take a lot of elements from all of those subsects and kind of have created our own thing for us. But I think we're, as everybody, just trying to be cool. We're just trying to be a cool band. So
If I had to describe your band in 3 words, I would say dreamy because of the sonics.
okay.
I would also have to say heartfelt. The lyrics, very interesting
Okay.
to listen to. And I don't want to say like moving, but like I guess that's the best way I can describe it. Like when I hear the song, like I connect to it.
Yeah, I think actually you landed on something that I think we are very intentional about, is just like trying to be as vulnerable as possible within, like realistic limits, that make sense for like what we do. But yeah, I think there is an element of vulnerability to all of our music that gives us, like, I think that's something that makes us unique from other bands as far as like just song to song. Because I don't think we're afraid to explore that part of it. So
Yeah, in the past, I feel like anxious was the song I'd like send to my friend and be like, listen, like you have to hear this one. It's everyone can understand it because they've all gone through it. So it was relatable, but also like, oh wow, like the song can peg down my feelings better than I can.
yeah, music has a funny way of doing that for sure.
Yes, it does. And speaking of that, what artists are you currently listening to?
What's funny about this question is that the answer is a lot of the times ourselves, because we're just always like listening to demos and stuff like that. I feel like I've listened to our own music way more than I would like to admit sometimes. But who am I listening? There's this. The other day I found this guy named Landon Conrath. He's really great. Like he doesn't have a lot of music out, but yeah, I really like what he's putting out. It's kind of Jeremy Zucker vibe, something like that, but maybe a little bit like more produced. He's pretty cool. I really like him. But yeah, I mean, I would say mostly him right now.
I do love what you said earlier, how you listen to your band's music the most. Honestly, if you can't enjoy the music you put out, like I feel like that's
Totally. Well, I mean, it's also just, I mean, it's part of the job too, is like when we write something or when we make a demo, like, we spend time listening to it to figure out if we want to actually finish it or put it out or change things. And, then there's the whole mixing process, and it's like, it's not just like for fun. It's for work, but yeah, on that note, I mean, we really want to like the stuff that we put out. So that's another reason why we spend so much time listening to it. So yeah, definitely get tired of my own voice sometimes. So
I do these interviews a lot. When I have to listen to myself, like if I have to edit them, I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah. Do you ever, I've gotten used to it now because like I've done it enough, but like when I first started like recording myself, like hearing what I sound like, I'm like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? It's the worst thing ever.
But you did mention the creative process behind music and a little bit of production. So can you tell me what is your favorite part of a song that you've written? It can be a lyric, it can be a guitar riff, a drum beat, anything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I think for me, like I'm a lyrics guy, like that's like what I enjoy the most is like trying to write the best stuff, like words wise. And I think like my favorite lyric that I've written for Wildlife, like recently, I do really like the first verse of Psycho. Like I think that um is probably some of my favorite lyrics that I've ever written, especially just because of how they came about. Like Carson sent me the chorus of the song. Him and Johnny wrote the chorus, and I wasn't there for that. But then we were going into work on it, and like I was playing it in the car while I was driving over, and I was just kind of writing it in my head, which seems to be a place where I like get most of my ideas. But like I wrote it in the 15-minute drive that I walked over there or drove over there and got out the car and pulled up, and Carson was like, "Did you write lyrics?" And I was like, "Yeah, just give me the mic and let me put the headphones on." And like I just did it in one take, and Carson turned around and was like, "Dude, that's it. Like there's nothing to even change." So it was a good, like those moments like make stuff really cool, like when you just kind of like land on the right stuff. But yeah, I think that's probably my favorite. I would say Forgive and Forget is another song that I really think that I wrote very well. I really like the chorus in that song as well.
That's really curious to learn about, just because as a listener, like we're always not obviously part of this process. We just hear the finished product. So kind of great to hear how things come about and how they developed. And that was interesting to say, like idea came to you in the car. Sometimes the best ideas come out of nowhere.
Totally. Or at like 2 a.m. when I'm trying to fall asleep, which is the worst because I'm laying there, I'm so tired, I just need to go to sleep, but I know that I'll forget it. And that's like the one thing that I've learned is like when you have an idea, you have to write it down or you have to record it. Otherwise you will not remember and it will drive you crazy. So yeah, at 2 a.m, I'm laying there and I'm like, I really do not want to pull out my phone and hit record and sing right now, but you know, sometimes you got to do it.
I understand. I have a notebook next to my bed, just like if I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning with an idea or like something I need to do, I have to write it down. Otherwise, I'm just not going to sleep that night or I won't remember in the morning. It's terrible.
Totally.
So I'm not sure if you know, but School of Rock was filmed at Wagner College. The school from Horace Green Prep School, that's where we had class.
Cool.
Everyone's always like, "Oh my God, like Jack Black was on your campus." I said, yes, it was X amount of years ago. But for us, it's always exciting to like tell people about this, since we never realized the impact this had on people growing up or their love of music now. So I'm actually quite curious to know what got you interested in music itself and like how you started on this journey.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a super cliche answer, but just like I kind of just was born to do it, I guess. Like I mean, I've been singing and been around music since I was a really young kid, and you know, just something that I always felt like I was good at and that I enjoyed doing. And also just, I mean, the more I've done it and over time, like especially in the last 5 years with the band, and been lucky to have reached the amount of people that we have, like just seeing like the actual impact that you know, what music can do for people that like I don't know, or like across the world and stuff like that, which is like kind of a crazy thing to say, like that people in other countries have like, you know, heard what I've had to say and it's meant something to them. So yeah, I just think that it's something that I've, you know, latched onto and something that I enjoyed doing, and so I just kept doing it, you know. I did play sports for a long time, but then I realized that I wasn't that great at those things, you know. maybe it was a bit of a weeding out process. I can do music. I can't play basketball.
I know, like when I was growing up in school, like in elementary school, they like give you tests and we're like, are you competent enough to like clap out a rhythm? Like, can you play an instrument?
Yeah, I feel that for sure.
There is one question our station always asks people we speak to, since we feel like this has been a hot topic and recently in the news and everything. And that question happens to be, what is your thoughts on an artist releasing music posthumously?
Oh, interesting. I had no idea where you were going to go with that, and that is not what I thought at all. You know, I haven't really thought about it, so I don't know that I have thoughts on it. But if I'm just like thinking about it off the top, I think it depends on who you are. I think that like even just knowing us, like there are so many songs that like we have that we like that might not ever come out, and especially like if you're talking about somebody like Michael Jackson or Mac Miller or I don't know, I guess Juice WRLD's doing it too, like when you're talking about somebody like that, like at the level that they're at, they probably have so many songs that are unreleased that either were going to be or were just finished and didn't make the cut, you know, because you can only do so many. So I guess it doesn't not make sense, but it does feel a little bit like cheap, you know. Like if I'm thinking about it, if I were dead, would I want music that I made to come out? I think my answer is no. Because I think that at that point it's just about the people that would be making money off of the music. Yeah. Actually, I think it's really shady now that I'm thinking about it. Because all those songs that are coming out for somebody who's dead, they don't own any of those songs, most likely. The label owns them. So they get to choose if they come out or not, and they're getting a split on it. So it's really just a money grab for other people. Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't F with that. I don't F with it.
That's actually where we ask this question. I feel if you feel like a lot of people don't even think about this, then it just becomes current and happening, and it's like, oh wait, this is now unfortunately a common thing. So yeah. We like to start conversations about it. And I know this definitely was not a question you were expecting to be asked today. Yeah. I know it's like a what question? Like, where'd this come from?
Interesting question for sure.
But we like to talk about the fact that one of the things we hope for fans in the future, or even just individual artists, that they'll discuss maybe when they sign a contract, like maybe they can own the rights to it. God forbid something happens, or something along those lines, just because you deserve credit for your work and you should have a say if something happens, God forbid.
Totally. Contracts are weird, for sure. When I've read them, I mean, one, they're written so that you don't understand them. That's why you need a lawyer. And two, there's like crazy. My favorite thing that's in contracts, I don't feel like this is wrong to say. I mean, but my favorite thing that's in contracts is like, there's like a location like clause usually, and I think a lot of the time, like earlier on, it would just say like the earth, like that would be like we own like whatever globally, whatever, like we control these assets globally. But now like in contracts it says like globally and all other like places undiscovered, which I think is really funny. So they're like, if like, I don't know, if we ever actually colonize Mars or whatever, like that's written into a contract that they would in theory own it on Mars, which is pretty crazy. My favorite thing in contracts these days.
That's wild. I've not heard of this before. This is absolutely wild. I've read some very interesting writers, but like never a contract.
Writers are fun. we don't have a crazy one. Ours includes chips, hummus, salsa, granola bars, and water.
It's a nice one.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
No, I've gotten some that were like only the red M&Ms, and I'm like, I really didn't think people did this. I really think it's just so they made sure we read the rider. But
Oh, it's absolutely that. It has nothing to do. It's an old trick in the book.
do you mind telling me if you guys have any upcoming? I think there's a tour announced, correct?
We did, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. We're actually announcing another show today as well, but we announced a tour with Joan and then a show with the band Camino as well this spring. So February 25th in Memphis at the Orpheum with band Camino, and then we're doing 2 weeks on the road, like Midwest East Coast with Joan. It's like the end of March, like the last 2 weeks of March. So we're super excited about that. Both bands like are good friends of ours. We've known them for quite a while, so it's been great to like be able to play shows with friends, especially because we've had some weird luck on the touring front. But yeah, we're excited to be on the road, especially because it's been so long. We haven't like toured in, almost over 2 years now. So we're excited for sure.
It's absolutely crazy to like learn about how it's been so long for touring and everything's coming back. I think I have a couple of myself lined up of shows I'm going to, so it's crazy but also exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
What is your favorite part about going on tour?
Honestly, like I think just like seeing places, that I've never been before, or at least have not been, in the capacity to like recognize it or know it. The new places that I think the first time we drove like West Coast, like I had never really been. I think I had been to LA, but only like on a plane. But like I think other than that, I've never driven like further than like Dallas. So like we played the show in Dallas and then we drove to Phoenix, and it's like, wow, this is like a whole different world that I, never. I mean, like it's there, but you just don't see it. Like the Midwest looks like the Midwest. Everything looks pretty much like the same. It's pretty normal. But then when you get out to like West Texas and like Arizona, it's like this is like legitimately like a completely different landscape, which is like just cool. I enjoy that part of it. And some days I enjoy living in a van with my best friends, and then other days I'm like, I'd like to sleep in my own bed. But
Do you have the van bunk beds too? I've seen a few vans.
The van bunk beds. Me and my dad did build a thing into the van for us to use originally, like for gear before we had a trailer, but now it's become a bunk that we use from time to time. I'm pretty much the only one that likes sleeping on it, but I think it's because I built it, you know what I'm saying? So like I have to use it. I also fit up there. I don't think that the other guys are too tall, so I just hop up on the bunk. I got my mattress pad, and I zone out. I sleep. So it's a good time.
Very solid. And awesome that you actually built your whole setup there.
It's mostly my dad, but I was there, so I helped build it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have one more question for you because I don't want to take up too much of your time. So my last question for you is, what are your goals for 2022?
Yeah, I think that for us, we're just trying to be on the road as much as we can, play as many shows as we can, and just kind of release music throughout the year as well. Hopefully, we'll be on tour supporting some other people, and really set ourselves up to maybe do our first like proper national headline in 2023. Is kind of what we would really like to. This is kind of the progression of what we really like to do. So. It's not anything like glamorous or interesting, but just trying to work hard and grow and get ourselves to a place where people want to come buy tickets to see our show. So we're excited about where we're headed, and I think that we're close to making it happen. So
We're very excited to continue watching the wildlife on your journey. It's been very exciting from our standpoint to watch you guys grow over the years, and we cannot wait to see what you do in 2022 and beyond. So thank you again for taking the time to talk with me. I greatly appreciate it. And to everyone listening, please remember to listen to the new song Psycho out on February 10th.
February 10th.
Perfect. Do you have any last words for our listeners?
I don't think so, but the next time that we're around, y'all should buy tickets and come to our show because we put on a great show.
Perfect.
And I'll take that to the bank for sure.